Hey everyone, this is Jay, also known as jaynemesis on eToro. eToro is a social trading platform where I trade as a popular investor, and this is week 21 of 2018 for our weekly update on my performance. Taking a look at our weekly statistics, you can see that I am down by 5.86% this week on my portfolio. The realized profit from this week, on the other hand, is up by 0.33%, and we have a total of 33 trades closed. Top news this week, the crypto market has dropped further. So it's been a bad week to be in cryptocurrencies. The crypto market since the start of the week until up until Sunday has dropped by around 15 to 20% overall. It depends which cryptocurrency you're looking at, but for the most part, most of them are over 15% lost. So obviously not great news. I am still pretty bullish overall, though. There are a lot of factors that are suggesting to me that we are actually heading into a breakout moment potentially over the coming, I'd say the coming month. I'll actually go over this in a little bit more detail further on in the video towards the end. But basically, I'm not too concerned. And also, with the long weekend that we've just had, it's not too surprising that we saw some profit taking. And already at the start of this week, we've seen the price rebound back up a little bit and bounce off that support level. Next up, Mark Carney is open-minded about central bank-run cryptocurrencies. So this is pretty interesting. Mark Carney is a central banker that I've got quite a lot of respect for. I've kind of followed him for a while. I think he's definitely doing a decent job with the situation that he's in. But only a few months ago, he was very negative about cryptocurrencies. He described Bitcoin as a failure and said that it doesn't, nobody's using it as a medium of exchange, and it is a bad store of value because the price is all over the place. Fast forward a few months, and here he is now saying that he's actually open-minded about a central bank-run cryptocurrency. So if we kind of dig into it a bit further and figure out, I think, what he means, I suspect that he's seen the power of cryptocurrencies in terms of very frictionless transactions and kind of giving users more direct control of their money. For a central bank, this isn't actually a terrible thing. You could easily create a central bank run cryptocurrency that's still decentralized in terms of the actual infrastructure that makes it work, but the supply would still be effectively, based upon the underlying currency. And for a central bank to do this, obviously, you benefit from the speed of the transactions and things like that, but also you get the advantage of being able to trace money more easily. So currently, it's a big problem for pretty much every government in the world right now to try and figure out who is speculating on cryptocurrency and where the money is going. Whereas if you have your own currency and you have an EOS and Cardano and Bitcoin and Litecoin trading pairs against that, it's much, much easier for them to try and keep track of it and see what's going on. So I suspect that's his reason for doing so. Of course, the next logical step after that is for central banks potentially to experiment with having their cryptocurrencies actually backed by things like Bitcoin, or even various different systems of being backed by multiple different types of assets. So it's an interesting place we're moving into. I still think we're a few years away from it, but it's interesting news, and I just kind of wanted to share it with you guys. The final news piece for this week is the EOS and Tron mainnet launches. So in 1 day's time, just over 24 hours from now, the Tron mainnet will launch, and 4 days from now, we will see the EOS mainnet launch. So there's some interesting things you have to do in terms of tokens. If you're looking at Tron, then the best way to convert your tokens is through an exchange. You have up until the 24th, I think, of June to send your Tron to an exchange. They will then halt trading for a day or so, and then you'll get your mainnet Tron tokens back. For EOS, you can do that. You're probably cutting it a little bit fine if you're looking at this now. But if you do have tokens outside of eToro, then make sure you put them on an exchange, or you just head to the EOS.io website and register the tokens. All you need to do is put in your wallet address for your current Ethereum wallet where your EOS is currently residing. For eToro, if you have EOS, then I suspect they have already taken care of this. We've seen them handle forks and things like that in the past. So I'm not too concerned about it, although they haven't given a statement yet. I would expect that they will probably give one quite soon. Things that I would be expecting to happen is probably some downtime in terms of trading action while the mainnet launches and kind of stabilizes and everyone's switching their tokens. But after that, everything should continue as normal. I'll go over my theories on price action and what to expect on that later on in the video. So our crypto recap is looking pretty bare this week. That's because EOS is the only crypto that I've actually traded this week. I traded 5 positions in EOS, so quite a lot of quite a lot of EOS trades going on there. Unfortunately, I did one bad trade which kind of undid the others, so that's just how it goes sometimes. But I'm not too concerned about it overall. So looking at stocks, it's been a really busy week trading stocks. You saw that I had 33 trades this week. Only 5 of those were cryptocurrency, so everything else was a stock, basically. Starting with Microsoft, just taking some profit from some positions that I've had open there for a while. It's not that I'm bearish on Microsoft as such, but I do think that there's better profit to be found elsewhere. SolarEdge and First Solar both took a pretty big hit this week. I'm not really sure as to what's caused this. I have dug around the internet lots, and there's a few bits of news about Huawei with some competition and a few other bits and bobs going on in the solar market, but there's really nothing that should have affected the prices of both of these stocks as much as it did. So they're both pretty depressed price-wise right now, but I'm not very concerned about that in the long term. After all, we had only just hit new all-time highs on both of those stocks. Netflix is another stock that I've actually been trading pretty actively. There were 5 positions that I closed here. All of them were green. Pretty small profits between 1 and 2% or so for the most part. But again, I'm quite happy with the results here. Netflix actually just surpassed Disney as the world's biggest media company. So that's pretty big news. With AMD, all of my positions in AMD are currently closed now. I took out quite a bit of profit, expecting there to be another pullback shortly for AMD, because we're now heading into the mid to high 13 range. So I wanted to take all of my money off the table and kind of wait for it to reset back down to 12 or so before really getting back in. Twitter has been doing amazingly recently. We've actually seen it head up to almost $35 a couple of times. Really nice results here. So I've been trading that pretty actively. It's really fun to trade. I think I'm going to continue trading it for a while, and I am very bullish on the long-term outlook of Twitter for the time being as well. Next up, 2 of my favorite stocks to trade at the moment are Shopify and Square. Some really nice volatility in these to be trading, and I'm also, of course, very bullish on them for the long term, which makes it all the easier to just take out long positions. Haven't really been trying any shorts with them to capitalize on all of the volatility, because again, I am bullish on them for the long term, so I want to make sure that I am going with the market, not against the market. It's not much more to say than that. I think it's 4 trades in total, so quite happy with my trading results there. Snapchat, I finally started trading Snapchat again. The price actually hasn't shifted that much. I know I said that I'd wait for it to go back above $11 before I really started trading it. I even say it here in this, but I just can't resist it. It's just so. I don't know. It's one of the few stocks that I trade that is something that I'm actively always trying to short, and I see some really good profit potential, but I'm still being very cautious in how much I'm putting in there. I've only got 1 position in it at the moment. At the time of making this video, I'm very cautious about putting too much into it when the price hasn't really reset back upwards at all. With Micron, I don't actually know the fundamentals why, but they jumped up quite substantially in the past week or so. So I finally just closed out all of my remaining positions there, took some profit, and I've just left it at that. Micron is a stock that I like, but unfortunately, it's just too volatile for me, and I feel like there's a lot of risk there. It really does fluctuate dramatically in price, and I just don't feel too comfortable keeping much money in there. So for the time being, I'm out of Micron. I'm not really looking to trade it any further. The same is effectively true for McDonald's, except that McDonald's isn't very volatile. So I've traded McDonald's a few times in the past, and I kind of like it because it's something that's slightly out of my usual scope of things that I trade. But it's just been underperforming recently, and I'm not really too I'm not really too happy with just leaving money sitting there doing nothing, especially when I am down in my portfolio and I feel like I should be trying to, rebuild my profits again for you guys. So as a result, I closed the position at a very small loss of around 7 or 8%, I think, and I'll just be actively trading elsewhere with the funds instead. Finally, there is Tesla. So I closed one of the positions here, pretty much at the top of like a little bull run that Tesla had during the week, and I still have one position left open. I am still concerned about a lot of things at Tesla. Elon seems to be going even more kind of crazy recently. I'm not too sure about the future of the company, to be honest. I really, really, really want it to work, and I'm someone that's ordered a Model 3, but there's definitely still some problems that need to be ironed out there, and just a few concerns about how things are being run potentially. But I'm still hopeful that it will turn around over the next few months as they just kind of keep working on their problems. So our overall realized trading stats for this week, we have 33 trades closed, 31 were profitable, and 2 were unprofitable. Average trade profit was 1.86%, which is pretty okay, actually. I'm kind of okay with that, considering that it's mainly been on stocks. Average trade loss, minus 8.45%. Most traded was EOS and Netflix at 5 trades each, and our total realized profit this week was 0.33%. Heading into our performance tab, you can see that May is still looking pretty bad for us. I think this is the lowest we're likely to go, and we will end a bit higher than this, back towards minus 5% or something for the portfolio. Again, please remember that this is a snapshot of the portfolio. This is not looking at our realized trades. So obviously with realized trades of 0.33%, if we did that every week, we'd end the year with like 20% profit. Due to compound interest. So please don't pay too much attention to this number. I know it looks very, very bad, but you've got to consider that we are effectively waiting for a lot of these positions to go up. That's just the way it goes sometimes. Looking at it from a weekly basis, you can see how bad this week was compared to previous weeks. Week 18, we had plus 2.25%, and then we had minus 0.74%, minus 1.36%. But this week effectively, undoes everything that we've done over the past few weeks, or what was left of it at least. So, that's just how it goes sometimes. Already today, we are back up on the portfolio by around 2.5% of that minus 5.8%. So yeah, just kind of, take it with a pinch of salt. We probably will end May in a negative at this point. I don't think I'm going to be able to turn it around in 3 days. But that's just the way it goes sometimes. You've just got to keep focused on the trades that I'm actually closing. Week in, week out, even during these difficult times, we're still making profits. They're just smaller profits. Well, with that negative message out of the way, let's actually take a step back and see what we're looking forward to. So going into the crypto stuff that I said that I would touch on earlier in the video, I am actually pretty bullish just looking at the charts alone, based on the technical analysis at the moment on the outlook for Bitcoin and the other cryptocurrencies. So if you go onto a one-day chart and you zoom out a bit, you should be able to see with the RSI turned on, parabolic SAR turned on, that they are both in very favorable positions for a bear market reversal, I guess. So the RSI is down at around 30 or so, or it was during the very bottom of the dip, which is typically as low as it tends to go before the price reverses. We've already seen that start today. The RSI, as well as the parabolic SAR is also just about to hit on a candle. When it does that, it flips and supports the price from below. So again, expecting the price to rally further than it is now on the daily chart. And of course, finally, we've actually got a triple bottom that's formed now. As long as we bounce off this support level, we will have a pretty perfect example of a triple bottom on a chart. So triple bottoms, generally what happens is you have a descending triangle, you have a bottom support level all the way along, and after the third bounce back up, when it hits the top of the descending triangle, it will actually push through it by about the same kind of height as the rally towards that from before, which means we could, if it does break out of there, we could see the price head back towards 10,000 or so. Of course, this is far from guaranteed, so be careful with that. I did also post another chart in a logarithmic view earlier this week, if you want to go and take a look at that, which shows that, again, like we're at the bottom of the channel that Bitcoin has traded in pretty much since its inception. So again, it's unlikely, not impossible, but it's unlikely that we should be going any lower than that. Next up, I am, of course, still being somewhat cautious with my funds. I did manage to get from my 8% down to 1% of of funds available last week, but of course, since the new week has started, that's gone back up again, as I've taken profit from some of the positions. But yeah, I'm just kind of being somewhat sensible about it. I know that there is a chance that things can go wrong. With obviously the EOS stuff coming up as well, it's useful to have some money on the side to kind of help control the situation, depending which way it goes. Speaking of EOS, so we have the EOS and the Tron launches this week. If both of them go well, they could actually act as a catalyst for the entire market moving upwards. If they both, go off without any major problems. Of course, with something as complex as this, a problem is likely to happen on one of them at least. My thoughts on EOS and the price movements as we head towards it. I think it's probably priced in at this point. We could see a small uptick towards the end as people kind of buy it just like the day before, trying to speculate on day trades and things like that. But I think for the most part, it's pretty much priced in. And I think it's priced in for a mediocre to bad launch due to the recent vulnerability that was posted a few days ago, which has already been fixed, by the way. So if you're panicking about it, don't panic. It's been fixed. And it's pretty normal, to be honest, for a project of this scale to have bugs like that. We've seen bugs in Ethereum with the DAO and the parity bug. We've seen bugs in Bitcoin with the malleability bug. Like every major cryptocurrency has had a bug of some sort in it. So I'm not too surprised about the EOS one. Remember, it wasn't even live at the time. So try and ignore the FUD, but also, be aware that some of the FUD is actually real. And we'll see how it goes. My suspicion now that we've kind of settled into this area in the market is that we could see it hit somewhere around $15 or so after launch, and if it goes very well, then we could see prices of $20 and up potentially. That's it for this week, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking with me. Please remain patient. I've said so many times that my strategy is all about disruption and it's all about investing in things that I also believe in for the long term. And when the markets are down like they are at the moment, that's where the long term bit comes in. This is why when you go and read my FAQ and it says how long should you be looking to invest for, it says a minimum of 1 year. And that's because you could have invested in January this year and you will be now 5 months in, almost 6 months in fact, with nothing to show for it but losses. But of course, over the long term, we should see that change. Markets traditionally go up, the stock markets, that is, cryptocurrencies so far, likewise, to a slightly more extreme degree. So you really just have to be patient. Like, we are investing in sensible long-term things, even though I am actively trading them. So that's the little bit of advice that I'll kind of leave you guys with is please try not to panic too much. My money is invested in this as well. And, I've been through this several times now through many of these different corrections in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, and where some people will be trying to scare you out of these things. Like, again, I've been in this from 2013. So I've been through quite a lot of these massive, massive drops. And if I had listened to other people's advice and sold when they told me to, I would be nowhere near as wealthy as I am now, I guess. So that's the final thing I wanted to leave you guys with. Is just stay positive, and we will continue to kind of churn those small trades through, and hopefully eventually we will come back into a position of profit.